Welcome to the SEC Unfiltered channel, folks. In this Friday night Sweet 16 reaction, what do we think tonight, guys? Again, wasn't as star-studded kind of performances like we saw last night, but still, I mean, we have two more SEC teams, Auburn and Tennessee, advancing to the Elite Eight on Sunday. What do we got to say, folks? I mean, again, Auburn, I think we kind of expected, but you thought they were in a war at the end with about 9-10 minutes left, and they just go on a tear. Was it 22-2 run there to kind of just put Michigan away when Auburn was down 9. Tennessee, I didn't think Kentucky could do it 3 times in a row. That's why I picked Tennessee to win this game. The Vols get the big win over to Kentucky to move on to Sweet 16. Ole Miss, Michigan State, one of the best games of the tournament, I think, overall. If you're just a true basketball fan and like watching the sport, the game plans between Tom Izzo and Chris Beard. Chris Beard's game plan in the first half was phenomenal. But no, a lot to get into, guys. But let's get into it first. Let's get into our first SEC on SEC game. Let's go to the Vols. Tennessee getting the 78-65 win, avenging 2 losses this year to the Cats. Again, I know a lot of people thought it may be a matchup thing, but I went back and dug up into it, and it was Kentucky in both games, in Knoxville and Tennessee, coincidentally, shot 12 for 24 from beyond the arc in both games. Shot from 3, 50% in both those games. Coincidence. I think Tennessee averaged shot like 16, 17%. That wasn't going to happen again. That just wasn't going to happen again. Tennessee ends up shooting 50% from the field, 26% from beyond the arc. Kentucky still wasn't bad. Only scored 65 points, but 49% from the field, 40% from beyond the arc. Tennessee was just running them off the 3-point line. That's what they did. Typical Rick Barnes with a team that likes to shoot a lot of threes. You see it in their matchups against Alabama a lot. If you don't get a lot of threes up, you can't make a lot. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. If you can't shoot a lot of threes, if you can't get them off, it's impossible to make. I'll guarantee you that. Death taxes, and if you get run off the 3-point line and can't attempt it, you're not going to make it. Those are 3 guarantees. But Tennessee out-rebounds Tennessee 34. Tennessee out-rebounds Kentucky 34-24. Turnovers, Kentucky at 12. Tennessee 8, keeping it in single digits. You always like to see that. Again, I'm reacting to this just as much as you guys are. I know this game finished a couple hours ago, but I like to do it real raw, kind of just reaction here. If you've never been on one of our reaction series we do after every night in the SEC on the hardwood. Tennessee got this lead up to 19 at one point, guys. This game was really never in doubt. They were up 15 at half. I thought Tennessee would have a good game plan in, and I thought it was too much for Kentucky to be that hot, shooting that well from the field, from beyond the arc. Once again, I just had a hard time seeing it. Zakai Ziegler with 18, Chaz Lanier with 17, just been very consistent. You'd like to see him shoot a little bit better from 3, but because again, it wasn't great overall for Tennessee, 26%. But no, I mean, it's really just Tennessee just not allowing Kentucky to get a lot of threes off. I mean, only 15 tonight, 6 for 15, really kept in check for the most part. I mean, Amari Williams with 14, Otega Owe with 13, Lamont Butler with 18. Just got to give Tennessee and them credit. Again, Tennessee's a tough team to go beat 3 times in a row. They are a tough team to go beat just 3 times in a row, the way Rick Barnes and them play basketball. Again, if you play Tennessee in a series, most of their series are going to go 6-7 games. If we were playing series, because Tennessee wears on you, the more you keep playing them, because they play a physical brand of basketball, and it's all dependent on officiating. It's tough. You're not beating them 3 times. You're just not. Not 3 times in a row. I mean, again, you can beat them in a series, which obviously in a best of 7, you'd have to beat them more than 3 times. Obviously, 4 would be that magic number. But 3 times I just didn't see. Not with this Kentucky team. And folks, I'm not down. I think Mark Pope did an A job this year, giving him an A. I mean, you're one of 3 teams that beat Duke this year. Beat them on a neutral court. What was it? Chicago, the Champions Classic? Or was it? Maybe in the Garden. Maybe been at the Garden this year. I forget. I mean, we know it rotates all these years. But he got that win. They've overcame a lot of injuries. Kerr Kriisa, who was their alpha, who was their dog, who was kind of like, hey, guys, we got that chip on our shoulder. We need a stop. We need a bucket. That's him. He's been in Arizona, been in West Virginia. He was out for a lot of the year. He played in that Duke game back in November. Lamont Butler missed some time. Carr missed some time. Obviously, Jackson Robinson out with the wrist injury. They've just been banged up. No one thought Kentucky back, really, I'll be honest, ever thought. I mean, some people in the bracket came out. I personally didn't think they would get to the Sweet 16. I thought they were an overseeded 3 seed, but at the end of the day, they were a 3 seed. They made the Sweet 16. Mark Pope's first team. Thought he did a good job when you factor in. You got to factor in injuries, folks. Context matters. When you factor in how much they were missing some key players, a true leader like Kirk Creasy, he's the key one to me. And obviously, Jackson Robinson's shot. You'd like to have that, obviously. But I think from a culture leadership standpoint, in games in March, when it's nut check time, you need guys like Kirk Creasy. Played a lot of college basketball, and I think they missed him. They missed him for the majority of the year. Kentucky was just never going to be great on defense, and that's what kind of hindered them. But Tennessee, moving on to the Elite Eight, folks. Back-to-back Elite Eights, back-to-back-to-back, 3 straight years, Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Elite Eight. They will play the winner of Houston-Purdue. Houston currently up 60-55 in that game at Lucas Oil with 3:09 left. I'll keep you updated on that one. Houston, Tennessee, we could get 1-2 seed matchup, just like we do in the East with Alabama and Tennessee, and just like we do in the South. Auburn, Michigan State. Out West was the only one. So, interesting. Yeah, with St. John's being eliminated. Yeah, we got one versus two, one versus two, one versus two. We got 1 versus 2 in the East. We got it in the South. If Houston holds on, they're up 60-55 now with 2.5. It would be 1 and 2. Houston being 1, Tennessee being 2. Gee, Tennessee, Houston. You may need Navy SEALs officiating that basketball game. And I'm interested to see because Miles Uzan became a much better basketball player if you haven't watched Houston since November. Since like the Players Era Festival tournament. He has became a lot better scorer. So keep an eye on that. I'm hoping we get Houston, Tennessee. I'm hoping. That would be a flat-out war on Sunday. I don't know. Should they play that game on a Sunday? On the Lord's Day? It's going to try to find 2 Navy SEALs to get this done. But Houston's still got to get the job done. Up 5, 2.5 minutes left against Purdue. Now, again, essentially a home game at Purdue, so they're going to overcome that here late. I trust Kevin Sampson in them, though. I think they'll get it done. But the Vols on to the Elite Eight. Where are the Tennessee fans at ready for Rick Barnes to retire? Yeah, we got to get off Rick, all right? Rick's one of the best, Hall of Famer. I feel like he gets too much. He gets too much flack from the Vol fans sometimes. Again, unless you like finishing in the top, unless you don't like finishing in the top 4 of the SEC 9 times out of 10, making it past the second weekend. Yeah, has he never been to a Final Four? Tennessee fans, your program hasn't been to a Final Four, not just Rick Barnes. I think you got a good shot on Sunday. Back-to-back Elite Eight tries your due to get one. Tip of the cap to the Vols, though. I think this is one of Rick Barnes' better coaching jobs. Maybe his overall best. But I do think this is one of his better ones when you factor in. This team, to me, is still offensive limited. I mean, they're limited offensively at times. Just look what they shot tonight, 26% from beyond the arc. But Tennessee advances. Man, I hope Houston holds on. Well, I mean, we legitimately here are getting – people are complaining about not enough upsets. Guys, you know how many texts I've got today? I got one from one of my buddies that works in college football. It's sitting here. We're going scratch today. It's like, well, at least we're getting Duke, Bama in the Elite Eight. We're getting Houston, Tennessee in the Elite Eight. We're getting Auburn, Michigan State in the Elite Eight. Those are awesome matchups, folks. Should be grateful for those. I mean, again, after maybe 1 or 2 14s over 3s or 4 over 13 or 13s over 4s, like I get tired of that. I don't want to see all those teams advance into the Sweet 16 Elite Eight. I want to see the best teams compete at the end. We're getting that this year because it's been a very top-heavy sport. But again, Vols advance. I keep kind of trying to talk to you folks just so I can give you kind of a final for this. But, yeah, 60-55 or 60-57 now, Houston. So I'll keep you up. But the Vols get the win. They advance to the Elite Eight, like I have said. Moving on, Auburn getting a 78-65 win over the Michigan Wolverines. One of the ugliest first halves of basketball I've seen this year. And we're in the Sweet 16 round. There are 16 teams, folks, but 2 of those 16 played a very poor first half. Auburn had, 10 turnovers in the first half? I think, Michigan had 9? It wasn't pretty. I mean, look at the turnovers here initially. Both teams ended up with 15. Michigan with 15, Auburn with 15. But where the point was, Michigan was up 9. with what, about 10 minutes left? 9-10 minutes left. Then Auburn just goes on not a run, a marathon, folks. 22-2 run to just put night, go to bed. Todd Pettiford was phenomenal down the stretch. Michigan just didn't have a lot of offensive answers outside of Danny Wolf, and Danny Wolf had a lot of turnovers on it. He finished with 20 points, but he did have some bad turnovers. And I mean, you remember the one in the first half, or to start the second half, I think he was dribbling in between his legs off to the wing, and he dribbled it off his foot when Janai Broom was covered. I mean, interesting. But Auburn shoots 39% from the field, 28% from beyond the arc. Michigan, 35% from the field, 29.4% from beyond the arc. Auburn, this is the key to the game, too. Out-rebounds Michigan 48-33, plus 15 in turnover margin. Hear me out. Offensive boards, 19-10. 19-10. And it was also one of those things, too. Maybe Auburn wouldn't get the board, but it would bounce around and kick off a Michigan guy's hand, and Amari Burnett's hand or foot or something, go off of that out of bounds, and Auburn get a fresh 20. Essentially, it's another possession. It's another rebound in my book. Again, both teams with 15 turnovers. Largest lead, Auburn got it up to 14 at the end. Like I mentioned, Michigan with 9. And that was decently late in the game, but Auburn just put their foot to the floor. Give Bruce Pearl credit. Called a timeout when they were down 9, and after that, Auburn just put keys to ignition and never looked back. Todd Pettiford was a monster late. Had a phenomenal game. Had fun. I mean, after he had a really bad SEC tournament semifinal against Tennessee, you could tell the kid was real down in post-game interviews. He has played well in the NCAA tournament, and they beated him. Denver Jones was incredible. And Denver Jones, who finished with 20, 4 for 7 from beyond the arc, and Todd Pettiford both went for 20 tonight. Both went for 20 tonight. That's what Auburn needs to go win the national championship and hoist a trophy on Monday night in the national championship game. Seriously, that's what Auburn needs. Those two were playing that well, and I didn't even think Auburn played that well tonight. I think Bruce Pearl would tell you that. For 30 minutes, 32 minutes, I don't think Auburn played well tonight. Not to win a national championship, but you know what? In that last 10 minutes, they took over and became alpha and had that chip on their shoulder. Essentially, the home crowd in Atlanta, 80 miles from Auburn. They pass right here on 85. They pass right. They drive the buses there. Auburn fans go back and forth. I can hear them from Atlanta, I feel like. It'll be a home game. They move on to face Michigan State in the Elite Eight with the right to go back to the Final Four for the first time since 2019 for Bruce and the boys. Should be a fun one on Sunday, too. We have two phenomenal games on Sunday, but the Michigan State-Auburn matchup, I actually like Auburn in this one. Again, if Auburn goes and turns it over, though, anything's possible. I think if Auburn limits those turnovers, which is obviously the goal, shoots a little better, I think they can win this game by double digits against Michigan State. I do. I think it's a good matchup. I was a little more concerned about Michigan than Michigan State. Now, am I fully cut Michigan? Auburn wins this game? No, because they got Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo really likes this team. So, I mean, if Auburn doesn't play good, they're not going to win the game. I do think Auburn has a bounce back. I don't think they play as poorly as they did in the first half. I think they control Sunday. I think Auburn's going to advance to the Final Four. I'm not ready to tell you Tennessee, Houston. I'll be honest with you, folks. I'm not ready to give you if it ends up being Tennessee, Houston. You got to give me a day to think about that. We're tied now too, so we may not even get Houston. Purdue. I'm putting it on the YouTube app. Sorry, folks. 1 second. I got to watch the end of this, just like probably you are too with 29 seconds. Put it on the old YouTube app. If you don't have the YouTube app on your phone, folks, what the hell are you doing, by the way? I'm sorry, folks. I'm putting it here. I'm going to be a fan with you guys for a minute. But no, so I'll keep you updated. Some of you guys may be a little ahead. So I got 60-60 with 29 seconds left. Possession Houston, just to kind of set the tone for you there. But no, Auburn advancing, should be a good game. You saw Tom Izzo in the stands doing some scouting after their win over Ole Miss. But Auburn put it on, pedal to the metal there. Auburn playing with an edge. Auburn playing with a real edge. Should be a fun matchup on Sunday. We'll get some of those times. See if we got a line. We can see if we got a line on some of those opening games yet. Obviously, we won't have it on whoever Tennessee plays, but we have Auburn, Michigan State 4.5. Auburn favored by 4.5. Let's see. All right, 10. Let's see. Last second shot here. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Houston. Tip. We're going Houston ball with 2.2 seconds left, folks. Tie ball game, 60-60. 2.2 left in Indianapolis. winner heading to the Elite Eight. We're all in this together, folks. All 300 of us listening right now. Timeout on the floor. Kelvin Sampson drawing something up. We may be going into overtime, folks. We may be going into overtime. But moving on, Auburn moving on. They will go face Michigan State. I told you that line opened up at 4.5. They will face Michigan State because Michigan State beat Ole Miss 73-70 in the best game of the day, folks. The best game of the day of the tournament. Man, what a game. What a game. Ole Miss led most of this game, control. They're up 2.5. They even got the lead up to 10 at one point. Ole Miss led. This game was within 4 to 8 points for the majority of the game, but Ole Miss was leading. So I thought Chris Beard and them had a phenomenal game plan. If you're into really the intricacies of college basketball, this was a good game to watch between Tom Izzo, Chris Beard. Was it name brands? Yeah, Michigan State was. Ole Miss isn't. Maybe Chris Beard gets them there for however long he stays. But Michigan State shoots 50% from the field, 35% from beyond the arc. Ole Miss, 40% from the field, 33.3% from beyond the arc. Ole Miss held their own. They were +4 in rebounding margin. If you told me that, I told you Ole Miss maybe won the game. And on a lot of shows I was on, I would say it would not shock me if Ole Miss won this game. And I was even saying, I think this is going to be our down to the wire game. And it was. And Michigan State escaped. Ole Miss easily could have won this game, folks. And some way may argue they probably should have. But they have nothing to hold their head up. Made the Sweet 16 in Chris Beard's second season. The trajectory of this program, as long as Chris Beard is leading it, is only upwards. I think he's a top 5 coach in the sport currently. As we stand right now, when you factor in age, what he's done, won at Arkansas Little Rock, is when it took Texas Tech to a national title game, was rolling at Texas before his off the court stuff, and then has Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 and in the toughest league the SEC's ever seen in his second season. So phenomenal job there. Just couldn't close that out. I thought Ole Miss was honestly the better team most nights. Sean Padula, 24, made some tough contested shots there. 11 points for Malik Dia, 13 for Matthew Morrell. Michigan State will be interesting. They're going to really muck it up with Auburn. Auburn's going to have to crash the boards like they normally do, but get back on transition D from that perspective. All right, we're going here 60-60, guys. 2.8 seconds. Houston inbounding the basketball underneath their own goal. 2.8 to win this basketball game, to go into the Elite Eight to face Tennessee. To win the game, it's over. 0.8. Man, what a night. What a play. Inbound gives it back to Uzan. That's why Kelvin Sampson's Kelvin Sampson, folks. That's why I like seeing the best teams in the second weekend advance into the Elite Eight, because the best teams have the best coaches, the best players. It's a better product, folks. The upsets are cool for a little bit until I'm seeing, no offense to Oakland. They're just the first team that comes to my mind. Oakland versus Duke in the second round. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Wisconsin, Oakland in the second round. I love seeing Wisconsin, BYU. Right? That was an awesome game. I'm just not picking on Oakland. Give them the credit. Give the Bears the credit. The Bears, right? They beat Oakland last year. But, dude, stuff like that. Kelvin Sampson, just the basketball IQ of his team, of Uzan, just Juwan Roberts and them. LJ Cry, just doing a phenomenal job. What a man. So we are going to get Houston, Tennessee, folks. But continuing on, I'll keep you updated. There's 0.8. They're reviewing time. But Ole Miss, only thing, again, I think is a job for Chris Beard when you factor in the tournament success. Because, again, always separate regular season to what you did in the tournament in college basketball to me. And I'm factoring in conference tournament on the regular season side. I know it's technically post, but like the NCAA tournament postseason is graded on a life and history of its own because it's so prestigious what you can do in the tournament. I think Chris Beard in a tournament setting where he has a day to prepare for that next team is at an advantage. I think him and Mark Adams do a phenomenal job in this setting. We're going live back to it, 62-60. Houston, 0.9. They put a 0.1 second back on. So Purdue's going to heave something here. I mean, it'll be a borderline miracle, obviously. This isn't even Leitner. This isn't even Grand Hill to Leitner. Not enough time. Telling him he can run the baseline. We'll see here in a minute. You know, refs usually like turn this into the ref show. Again, we got the ref talking to Matt Painter. Doing some substitutions. But yeah, Ole Miss, phenomenal year with Chris Beard. who can they get to come back, man? These rosters in college basketball, just the turnovers are being interesting. Sean FANDUEL, what a fun player to watch this year. What a fun player. 9 for 17, 4 for 9. Houston wins it, folks. Houston wins it. We have Tennessee, Houston officially. I'll be interested in seeing that line. I'm banking Houston minus 2.5, 3. But again, don't mean to keep overlapping Ole Miss. Just, I mean, we had a tournament game to advance to an Elite Eight game to face an SEC team going down. So sorry, folks. Sorry for the Ole Miss fans listening. But I thought you had a phenomenal year. I mean, you out-rebounded Michigan. You had the blueprint. You had the blueprint to win this game. You out-rebounded Michigan State, folks. I said Michigan. I'm sorry, Sparties. You had the recipe. You had the ingredients to make the greatest cup of soup you've ever had, bowl of soup, whatever. Just couldn't get it done late. Frustrating loss, but like Chris Beard said in postgame, you hold your head up high. This program's going in a lot. The trajectory is up with Chris Beard. I give him an A on the season, folks. But man, phenomenal last 2 days, guys. But this reaction, folks, brought to you by our buddies over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet, folks. I mean, it doesn't get much better than these last few days, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't overall, guys. And this bracket season, FanDuel is letting you make the call, folks, because right now new customers can get $200 of bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time. There's tourney action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/SECU and get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 plus and present in all select states or 18 and older and present in DC. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with the Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or visit 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Guys, yeah, I mean, already got the lines for you, refreshing it. For tomorrow's game, Alabama -6.5. Florida -6.5 as well over Texas Tech. Auburn -4.5. And we have a Tennessee-Houston line, like I guessed. Thought it'd be in that realm. Houston opens up as a 3.5-point favorite now that we know the Cougars just got the job done against the Boilermakers, guys. But, man, two more teams from the SEC advance to the Elite Eight tonight. Tennessee and Auburn. They will move on to Sunday's action. Auburn will face Michigan State. We got 1-2. We got the 1 seed and the 2 seed in the South. We got the 1 and the 2 seed in the Midwest, as well as Houston, Tennessee. I'm fired up about that matchup, man. If you're a Navy SEAL, good luck. Good luck. But, man, we got action tomorrow. We got Florida, Purdue. We got Florida, Texas Tech tomorrow as well. That's tipping off at 6:09 p.m. Eastern. And then we got Alabama, Duke at 8:40. I think at 8:40 Eastern. We will see that game tomorrow night as well. So that's going to be the one everybody's going to be fired up about. It's 8:49 Eastern. But, guys, remember, this reaction is brought to you by our buddies FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet, folks. Let's look at a little comments before we get out of here. Cole the Bear Thompson, baby. Shumate. Jeremy Scott says, roll Tide. Yeah, Alabama winning baseball and basketball tonight. Chad Henze says, roll Tide. Jimmy Calhoun says he thinks the Dukies are going to win it all. Randall Daughtry. Rick can coach until he retires. Best coach in our history. Absolutely. He 100% is. Gig'em Bart. Aggies would gladly take Barnes. Houston got it. Yep, you're right. And then Gig'em Bart. Smoke on the boards about Aggies approaching Chris Beard. No way, right? I mean, I'm sure they would. Trevor Albert should approach him, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, anybody should. Remember, I think North Carolina's going to open up after next year. I think Hubert Davis will be going after this next upcoming season. So a lot of jobs will be coming Chris Beard's way here, I think, in the next year or two. So it'd be interesting to see how long Ole Miss can keep him. I mean, in today's college basketball, you get comfortable in a place like TJ Otzelberger, like Nate Oates at Alabama. Again, a little bit better, way better programs historically than Ole Miss. I mean, let's be honest. But in basketball, some people Nate Oates turned down Kentucky last year, or immediately put out that smoke. So I mean, some guys get comfortable, like to be the big man on campus. So who knows how all this goes? But again, guys, phenomenal night. Auburn, Tennessee advanced. They are elite. We got Alabama. We got Florida tomorrow. Who heads to the Final Four? Who are the first teams in the SEC? Hopefully we have two. We have two SEC teams punching their ticket to the Final Four tomorrow. We shall see. But for Dave Shumate, your lead college basketball analyst, I will see you tomorrow night after the Alabama-Duke game. You have a phenomenal Saturday.